Okay, I'm recording now, and welcome to Junior Developer Happy Hour React30 night. We've been doing this every Sunday night. Might be some new people here. I don't recognize all the names. So we've been doing JavaScript 30 exercises, and then we're just going through day by day. But instead of doing it in vanilla JavaScript like the exercises do, we're doing it in React just to mix it up a little bit, play around with React and see how you implement these things. See the difference, since a lot of us already have gone through and done these vanilla JS exercises. Well, it's not just JS, it's CS, CSS, HTML, JavaScript. It's a good fundamentals thing to do, JavaScript 30. And before we get started, I can share some links before I forget. I probably forgot last week. I don't remember. It's my LinkedIn if we're not connected. Can you share the Slack link, Brian, when you get a chance? We have a Slack that we use for the JDHH community. And let's jump in. So we use Code Sandbox to do the coding. I'm gonna create a new React sandbox, and then I'll invite people here. So let me get the link. This live link allows us to mob program. If you're not familiar with mob programming, that just means a whole bunch of people all programming together. So I need to tag you in though if you want to like start typing. So this week is it shouldn't be as long as last week. Last week we went for like 2 hours. There's some pretty fun exercises last week, and we were playing around with some like pretty fun libraries to play around with. So it's up on YouTube if you want to check it. I can get you that link too. Before I forget, I made a playlist. Let's see, I should have queued it up. Let's see. JavaScript 30. Let's see. Well, I don't have the playlist link on me right now, but I got the video. And it's been a couple weeks. So yeah, Andrew, you missed last week's 2-hour session. I just posted the video for that one. But yeah, there's like a React 30 playlist on my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna start adding all videos to that playlist. Let me see. I'm gonna mute. Somebody's mic is on. Let's see. Maybe it's this one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's copy the code. So we got this code. Let's just paste it in here. So this week, we're back to the arrays. We did the array cardio day one. I forget when that was, a few weeks ago. So the way we did that last time is like, West Boss just console logs these exercises, but like we like to mix it up. We want to render stuff on the screen. So what I was thinking for this one is we'll tag people in one by one. First, we can do this. How do we, like, we can just put this in a variable is 19 or older. Oh. So let's do, let's do something like this. Let's get rid of all these errors. Let's see what's there. Okay, there's no errors. And let's just, first of all, let's render these people like in a list. Like who wants to do that? That's like some, just convert some data and render the people that we have in a list. Can we tag? Can we get volunteer? Or
I don't know how to do it in React, but I could do it in vanilla JavaScript.
We can help you do it in React.
Yeah,
Do
we
you
can
want to try?
Sure.
Okay. Which screen name are you in Code Sandbox?
It's Sam something, Sam Cruz Southern probably. Maybe Wax 54. I don't know.
Okay, I just tagged you in.
Okay.
So have you used React before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Maybe we should show you that.
Yeah, for sure. Show me. I'm happy to watch.
Okay, so I'll get us started with this part. So
I can also tag.
Can someone provide a, sorry.
Oh yeah, Brian, you want to tag in? I got you.
I think I'm Brian Tran.
Okay, I tag you in, Brian. Just render these people.
Okay.
Replace this text. Like you can delete that.
Okay.
Hello, Kansas Sandbox stuff.
Can you provide a link to that sandbox in the chat? Because I don't see it on your meetup.com page.
Yeah, we just Zoom doesn't keep the history, so if you log in after,
stuff.
Yeah.
And we're gonna render people.
Yeah. So yeah, we're
How do
on.
I do everything up here? Because I like doing everything up here. To do const render. Person. Do we want the name and the year in just like a string? Okay.
Yeah, you can just put name, comma, year, or whatever.
Okay.
Up to you.
Li. Close the li. Wants the name and the year. Destructure that name, year. Render people. Ooh. What happened?
Okay, let's get rid of the CSS so that it's not messing us up. It like came with, let's just take this off. Yeah, that's better. We don't need any styles for this this week. I think we don't, it's more just JavaScript this week instead of styling.
Yeah.
So
I have a question about my code.
yes.
This is pretty short, but it can stretch along the lines. Is it okay that I left it as I did this outside, like I made it I made it to render people instead of doing it inline in the return statement?
So I mean, that's your personal preference. I wouldn't do it like that, but it doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
I've seen that practice used when there's like a particularly long return statement. Then I've seen that practice of breaking it up like into like functions. I've seen that before.
Yeah, I generally will put everything in line. It's easier for me just to see all the JSX together. And then if the component starts getting big, like it's 100 lines of code, then I break it up into smaller components. And yeah, I don't have hard rules. It just, when it's getting hard for me to like reason about the code, then I start breaking it up. But I don't usually put it in a variable like this. That's just not my coding style.
Sam,
yeah,
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is Adam. So I noticed we didn't import React here. Is that just because it's app.js, or is that a code sandbox thing? Or I know most components you have to import React to get this stuff to work.
I don't think you needed that since like React 16 point, I forget what. There was a version that came out where you don't have to do that anymore, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, who wants to do this part? Just solve this question. So we're gonna solve this question and then we're gonna render it like under here. Will just be like, is anyone 19, or let's just copy this whole question. That's good enough. So let's do, well, I'll let whoever wants to tag in. First, write the code to solve this. We want to practice using this sum function. And then we want to render this variable under this heading to answer this question. So we're using code to answer these questions instead of manually, like as a human, like looking through the list and seeing if somebody's 19 in order. Does somebody want to try to do this question? Yeah.
Okay, it's okay.
Who's talking?
I kind of already did it, I think, last week.
Ian. Yeah, we can tag you in. Are you in the code sandbox?
Yeah, I am. I'm under Canino Dev, I think. Red box. Canino Dev, yeah.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's get you in there.
The only thing I might need some reminder is if I were approaching this problem, I probably want to do like something. I just can't remember if it's date, time.
I think
now?
You can do new date that is full year to get the current year. If you don't want to hard code the year. That way it's like the code is future proof to like if somebody comes to the code sandbox next year, it's still working.
Right.
No, new date.
That's the only thing I remember. Sorry?
So you got to put it in like here. Just so everybody can see. I'm gonna go to NDN. Date. I'll just type current year MDN or something. JavaScript.
That was date time. Or get full year?
Yeah, so you do new date, you can do empty parentheses and then get full year.
I should default to the current year, right?
Because you need to execute date because it's a constructor function. So
Wait, I think
you need
date, like this?
Yeah.
Okay. So now that we have, okay, I should just do current year. And then, so right now we want to check to see if everybody is 19 or older.
Yeah, so you can move 28 below that variable. I was giving you the starter code, so.
Sorry. Right here?
Yes, no, so here, I got it. So just move this down. Oh, shit.
Okay, okay. Sorry.
And then instead of false, just start typing the code there.
In here, okay.
No, 929.
929, sorry, I thought you moved it down there. Okay, here you go, okay. It's 19 older, so the name of the variable is people. Sorry.
No, line
I
29.
know, I know. It's just that the
Oh.
marker was there. Sorry, I didn't realize it was there.
Okay.
Sorry, what's it? Can do a map for each, I guess. It doesn't really matter, right?
No, we want to use sum. That's the exercise.
We'll see where we got that, yeah. Oh, we want, if anybody is then less than 19, right? If anyone at least one, okay, so one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Graded, yeah. So let's render that and see what it says. Underneath the H1, just render that variable. What happened?
Because it's not, I'm just returning, I have to render something like an actual. This doesn't actually render anything though, does it? Like, I think it just returns, what if sum returns?
Let's see.
Returns a Boolean, so it should render out so true or false.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not rendering. I'm doing a count log. So it says true. For some reason, it's not coming up on the screen.
That's weird.
Does the true have to be in the context of a string for it to render? Or
Yeah,
will it
I
render
think React
Booleans?
might not render Booleans,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Do
yeah.
the toString function, right?
Now let's do the toString down here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So it's better we keep the data, and then like how we render it, we manipulate it there. Okay. Good catch. Yeah, React, that's like the conditional rendering. That's what I think. So it doesn't print the Boolean. So that's good enough, I think. Let's make it, yeah, whatever, that's good enough. All right, let's get somebody else in for the next one, every. And then these are a little more interesting, so, but let's do this every one first. Who wants to try it down? Does somebody want to jump in to?
I could try that one.
Okay.
I'm AEMANN2.
Okay.
Adam AEMAN2.
Okay. And wait, before we tag you in, does anybody have any questions about what we just did? I'm not sure. Usually there's like people from all different levels. So any questions about some or this getting the full year or anything that we're doing?
Sum just returns a Boolean. That's all it does. It's an array method. Yes.
Yeah, I can bring up the page. So yeah, it just tests whether at least one element passes the test implemented by the function. So your function needs to return like some kind of truthy, like checking for truthiness. So in our case, we just said, we checked. So what was your name again? Ian? Is that right? Where did Ian go? He disappeared. I think his name was Ian. Sorry if I got it mixed up. He just made current year minus person.year greater than or equal 19. So as long as that was true for at least one person, then the thing returned true. So since that was true, now we're doing checking if everyone is greater than.
So I'm using the I'm using the every method. on people and checking. I already wrote this out, so I'm just going through it now. For every person, we're doing the current year minus the year that their age, which is person.year, and making sure it's greater than or equal to 19. If that's true for everyone, it'll return true, and if it's false for anyone, it'll return false. I think this should work.
Okay, yeah, let's render it like, okay.
Do the same thing.
Yeah, we can do the same
Sam,
thing.
do you
like-
want to set it up with the
Yeah.
Cool.
What does it do? Ooh,
All right, and let's say so that's false. Because
And-
there's someone born in 88.
Yeah, well, there's someone born in
right?
2015. So yeah, that's right, because Lux is born in 2015.
That's it,
So this-
2015. Yeah, my math is awful.
Once we do this part, it's gonna get a little
Yep.
bit more interesting. These things will change because we'll be able to like, oh no, this is deleting comments. Maybe we can switch it up depending how much time we have. But one refactor, like you see this, we can dry this code up a little bit. So what I can do is I'm gonna rename this to, what are we gonna name this to? Oh, right, what is it, command? I forget what the, I don't wanna bookmark this.
Like do a count?
Let's see. I always forget what the, oh, there we go. I use a different IDE, that's why. Let's call this is at least one person super verbose, 19 or older.
Is
So-
any 19?
It's
Or
like
about,
Java
is any, how about
names.
is any 19?
I prefer to be
More verbose.
clear.
Yeah.
No, we want to be as verbose as possible.
I like to
It's like
read
Java.
it. I like to read it like it's English because then I can see, oh yeah, is at least one. I don't need to like guess any acronyms or stuff like that. So is at least 19. So we can copy the callback to here. And then we can do, we can copy this. And we can copy this. Boom. Okay, now we're back to what we were. And let's fix this warning.
Sam,
Hold on one second. Let's just do, I'm just gonna put the index. What did I do?
Oh, I added that I, but you can do that.
Yeah.
Sam, why does
Okay.
React require the index for map like that? I've never understood why it needs that or why it wants that.
So it knows how to efficiently render like whatever new data needs to be rendered. So you don't want to use index if you're going to be like sorting the list or moving stuff around. Then you want like a unique key. But like
Unique.
when we're just rendering the list and we're not moving people around, it's fine to just use the index, I think.
yeah, React has some optimizations built into the render function that's based on each
Bec-
child
yeah.
having an index.
Like it's more for like, imagine you're rendering like a huge list, you know, React wants to be smart about like manipulating the DOM is like is gonna look janky if like React doesn't if you have a huge list and React doesn't efficiently only re-render the part of the tree that actually like changed.
Oh, that makes
So-
sense. Okay.
It does like a different algorithm to like figure out what elements on the in the tree that it needs to like update. So, but
Sam, I had a question about the callbacks on line 30 and 34.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, maybe this is like evident, but is there a reason you don't have to pass in the person into the callback?
Because when
Does
you
JavaScript just do that automatic? So
yeah, so because what we are doing is this is equivalent to putting this right here. So like,
oh, okay.
this is just saying when you see this variable, insert this, run this code as the callback. So I just dried it up because we wrote the exact same code twice. So I extracted the callback and put it here. This line is not executing the function, it's just defining the function.
Okay.
And then we're using the function as a callback. We're passing it to some and every.
Okay.
Because we want to run the same logic. It's a little better because it could prevent bugs, because you imagine if like the business logic changed and you wanted to change it to like 18, and then you forget to update it in one place. Now that we have it in one place, that bug can't happen. So, and it's just a little cleaner. I don't like to dry up all the code. Like I think when even when I was starting, like when juniors are first starting, depends how you learn how to code. Like sometimes you get drilled, like keep the code dry, keep the code dry. That means don't repeat yourself if you're not familiar with the term. So you get carried away and like dry everything up. But like there's also this like, what is it called? Principle, computer science, principle of
Is it solid?
three or something? Is that what it's called? Abstraction. I forget what it's called. Does everybody remember what it's called? There's like a thing. I forget who said it.
Single source of truth is the only thing I remember.
It's like you don't want to create the abstraction until you see something like 3 times, because then it's clearer what the abstraction should be. I'll post it in the comments later. I'm having a brain fart right now. I can't remember what it's called. But generally, if it's not super clear, like this is really clear, so it's easy to make the abstraction. But like if you're making React components, sometimes it's not clear like how to break things up into like modularize it into components. So I generally will just keep copy and pasting code. And then there's a principle that you follow, which I can't remember what the name is called right now. Yeah, there you go. Kiki's coming in with the 3-point shot. So let me copy that so I can show it to everybody on the screen. So the rule of 3, Martin Fowler, that's who wrote it, came up with this. I like this principle. I don't follow it exactly, but generally I follow this, especially with components, because you want to build the right abstraction. So like if you start out by just creating all your components and modularizing it up front, just because you want your code to be clean and you want to keep everything dry, you might create like crappy abstractions that make the components hard to use. Like what I mean by the abstractions is like what you're passing in as props, and or if you're doing like compound components. I don't know if people have seen or if people have made more complex React components like compound components. React Florence and Ryan Florence and Kent C. Dodds have some videos on that. I think Ryan Florence compound components. Like this one's kind of old, but like maybe this one is better. This one's newer. I don't know. You can try and look it up. These are like when you're getting into like more complex kind of components. stuff like that, creating those types of abstractions are not super clear a lot of times, like when you're just coding. So usually my style is I start with one giant component, and then while I'm coding, it becomes kind of more obvious, like how to break it up into like separate components. So sometimes if it's super clear, I just make the abstraction right away. Like this code was just twice. And it's pretty clear that I could just pull it out. Other times I'll just leave it, like, you know how we had it twice, and then I'll abstract it when it shows up again. And then it's like clear. I'm like, I should put this into like a utility function or something. So usually the abstractions you create in React is like abstracted into a smaller component piece or utility function or like a hook. So those are, I think those are probably the three tapes. Off the top of my head, that's all I can think of. That's how I abstract things when I'm making stuff for work. If it's clear that I got too much like logic going on in here, I'll like pull it out into like a utility function so that I can use it either for just a general feature I'm making, or if it's like a high level utility that I can use in the whole app, then we have like a utils folder at the like higher level. Or I usually have, if I'm working on a component and I want to modularize it into components, then I have like a folder for that component, and then I'll keep the like sub components in that folder because they're not used anywhere in the app and they're not meant to be like building blocks for anything else. It's like just to modularize that component to make the code easier to understand. And then I'll have like a utils folder and a hooks folder just for that component, unless they can be used elsewhere. But again, I won't pull it up to a higher level until it's clear that this is how I could abstract it to be used like throughout the app with like other components. But yeah, any other questions? Okay, let's do this part. Who wants to do the find? So we're gonna do, let's do, who is that? What is that?
Kiki. But what if I make it non-functional? Can I try?
That's good. That will get you in here. So I have to explain what I'm thinking too. Are you in the sandbox or did you come in later?
I don't know how I can tell if I'm in the sandbox.
I just posted the link again. You got to go to that link. I don't see.
Oh, I'm on the public non-coding sandbox. But
you gotta come to the live link. Okay, I see you. Okay, so what I'm thinking is first of all, we just want to render the comments. So like under here, let's render some comments. So we can just render it in a list. So under here, Kiki, if you want to start by just rendering the comments, you don't need to render the IDs, just render like a bullet list of the comments. Just keep it simple.
Okay, like this? Oh man, I cannot edit. What?
Let me see.
I'm read only.
Oh, how come you're in here twice?
Oh, let me put my other name.
Okay, you're in here. Are you in it in two different screens?
Let me try to reload.
Can you type now?
One moment. It's loading. It says, oh snap. Sorry guys. Slight difficulty.
Did somebody else want to jump in, and then we can try and get Kiki to do a different part?
Oh, I still can't type. Yeah, so maybe somebody jump in. Oh,
So,
Yeah, I can render a list.
okay,
Yeah, I'll just use what we got going on before.
okay, awesome. It's gonna be your first React.
Yeah, it seems I don't understand how it knows what. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'll talk in a second.
Yeah, it's hard to. We were talking about that last time. It's hard to talk and type the code at the same time.
Yeah, I'll just reuse this.
Nice. Awesome. That's how I learned too, is copy pasta the code and see what happens.
I do it from the docs.
Yeah, I copy pasta the code from everywhere. I just
Stack Overflow, docs.
What does this quote space quote mean?
I think React just, I mean, a code sandbox just added that in.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you need it.
React adds that in sometimes. I think it has to do with the line length, and if it overflows, it'll add a space, but I
Yeah,
don't really know.
I don't think you need, I think Prettier adds that.
Oh yeah, prettier.
Oh, okay, cool.
Let's see. Oh, you, camel case, you need the C to appear.
I've been working in Python recently.
Okay,
So-
you don't need the,
Oh yeah, what am I?
yeah, we don't need the ID. Let's just do the text. You can get rid of all the other
Okay.
stuff. Boom. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, what do we want to do next? Okay, let's add, does somebody want to add input like right under the comments, and then we'll keep track of the ID. So if you type in the ID, then it will display whatever comment has that ID, or it will just say like no results found or something. So how can we do that? So we're gonna make it a little, we're gonna learn how to use find. Actually, let's leave the list, and then under it, let's do, let's just do this here. Find practice. Okay, let's do each, let's make it smaller. Okay, so under here, we're gonna put input, and then when you type an ID, if it finds a comment with that ID, then we'll render that comment, and if not, then we'll render no comment with that ID found or something like that. Does somebody want to try and do that?
I'll give it a shot.
Richard? Okay.
Yeah. Wait, so what are we doing exactly?
Are we doing what? What was that?
Oh, wait, what are we doing exactly? We're taking the input in.
We want to put an input on the screen, like a text input, and then we want to be able to type in ID in it, and then we want to display what that comment is if there's a comment that matches that ID.
Okay. My first thought is we should store it in the states.
Yeah, so we got to keep track of what the user's typing in the input. Yeah, let's call it. Oh, now you got to import use state or React. That's what somebody was asking that question earlier.
Yeah, that's me.
So if you want to do this, then you gotta import React, right? Or Or you can just import the use state, like you can destructure it from
Mhm.
React. But like generally before, it was just annoying that you had to import React when you weren't using it. So
Was it anytime you use JSX? Was that what it wanted it for, or just like anything?
I think, yeah, because JSX, like the code underneath does like
Yeah.
React dot create component or something like that. But now they do that automatically for you. Okay.
So I guess
Okay.
we can make a form. We're just
Let's
gonna
change
input
the
that.
name again. Let's change the name. Like, let's make it something else. Something. Let's do query again, or
For the state.
let's do comment ID, just to make it more clear. Oh. Okay, now you gotta make the input. Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll guess I'll just, at first I was just a little form. Oh,
Yeah, you don't need a form though. We'll just put the input. Actually, leave it in the form because that will make it more accessible. Like you can hit the enter key because we can do an on submit. Or we don't need an on submit though. Yeah, you can leave the form, but we don't need it because we're just gonna do it as they type.
and I think that is it, but I'm not totally sure.
You gotta also keep. You gotta update the ID. So as they type.
Oh yeah.
On change. We're gonna keep track as they're like typing.
Yeah.
This is a hard pattern for me to remember. This whole, this is called control components. Sam, is that what this is called?
I think so.
Yeah. By calling this value, we're changing it from uncontrolled to a controlled component.
So to start off, let's just
Can you repeat that? About the control input?
So by default, HTML, like you have this form, its state is managed by HTML.
Okay.
So that's uncontrolled, but you can make React like control it by passing this value prop.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I wasn't sure, like, I come across that terminology before. I wasn't sure what that meant. I was trying to use the React form, the React hook form, something like that, where it came out.
Okay, so it looks like it's working. Like whatever I type is putting it there. I don't know what this warning is. It's talking about. Oh, okay. So, but we don't want to just display the comment. We want to, instead of this, we want to, let's write the function now. So we're going to need to combine this to find the comment. So we want to see if the comment ID that the person searched for, if there's a comment with that ID, then we want to display what that comment is under the input. If it doesn't find one, then we just put like no comment found with that comment ID or something like that.
Should
So,
continue, or is like, does anyone else want to do it?
Does anyone else, or should Richard just continue? Oh, you can just continue. Doesn't sound like anybody's falling. So, yeah. Yeah, that's good enough. Found comment or yeah, whatever. Well, it's the found comment, not the ID.
So do we just want it like if they type the complete ID or like part of the ID?
It has to be an exact match.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that's good enough. There's going to be one problem with that, but I'll show you.
Okay.
So, like if I copy this, it says not found. I think we need double equals. What did I do? Comment doesn't like that. Oh. What happened?
Missing a parenthesis maybe to close out the comment ID equals ID.
Oh,
I think it needs two.
Like it needs to be closed out.
Whoops. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Like you have to close that out and then try with that.
I just want to, what is it complaining about? Oh, maybe it doesn't want me to do that. I'm doing a shortcut.
Yeah, there's something going on with that that parentheses right after ID, right?
Yeah, why is that there? Well, instead of doing that, let's do this. And put the triple equals back. We have to do not sure. Because it was comparing the, oh, what? Object with keys, text ID, mentor and their collection of children.
I think it's because when you do the find, it's not actually returning an element, like something that can be rendered. Like the comment.
It is, so it is finding it. But what find does, yeah, let's go to the docs. So array.find, it returns the object. So right here. So it either returns undefined or it returns the first element provided that the array. So when we find the match, it returns the object. And what we want is, we want this. Oh no, not, we're gonna do it up here.
Couldn't you surround that whole first clause in a div?
Hold on 1 second. No, sure. There you go. And what are you asking?
I was thinking like in that first clause before the or statement, couldn't you surround that with a div, like with a div element? Wouldn't that work? Like for instance,
why do we need to do that though?
Well, I'm just saying like that would render that object into something that can be renderable, right? I mean, that's an alternative way of doing it.
But then it's like it's either a string or a div. I don't know. That seems kind of weird to me. I rather return a string no matter what from here. So it's a same return type. Down here, if I want to render it in a div, then I can do it. It's just easier to wrap your head around, like if functions return like the same like type of return value, because like if you're returning one is a HTML element or it's a string, it's not as clean, I think. At least my brain doesn't have as easy of a time to like look at the code and like understand it. With this, I know this is a string or this is a string, and then down here, I'm rendering a string no matter what. So, but yeah, it could work either way.
Sam, can you explain the question mark dot text?
So yeah, that's just there's like newer JavaScript that just came out last year. It's called optional chaining. Brian just posted the comment in the chat. So it's optional chaining. That just means if this thing exists, then give me this value. And it's just safer because if this doesn't exist and I'm calling name, it would just explode. You would have a runtime error. So it's just a nice thing that JavaScript added last year. So that's what allows me to do this, because find's either going to return undefined or the object, right? So if I don't do the question mark, whenever this evaluates to undefined, this would result in a runtime error, like I can show you. If I go like this and then I type something, boom, it just blows up the whole page. And you don't want that in your app, right? So it's just a little safer.
Can you use that multiple times in one statement or no? I guess it might make sense.
You can. Like if you have a deeply nested object, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it on every single layer that you go deeper. You can just keep doing question mark dot. They might have that inside of the, let's see if they have any deeply nested ones. So before we used to have to do this all the time. Now you don't have to do that anymore. So your code's cleaner, it's just this. Instead of the old way of doing it, you have to check if it exists first, and then you could do it. And now we don't need to do that. So yeah, it doesn't have any deeply nested ones, but yeah, you can.
It says stacking the optional chaining operator if you scroll down a little more.
Oh, I gave up too quickly.
Right there.
There we go. This is what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I wasn't sure if you could do that.
Yeah, you can do it like that.
Cool.
So before, like the way around this, whenever you had deeply nested objects, I used to always use this function. So if you're working in a code base, most likely Lodash is in it. This is probably the most used utility library in every single code base that you work in. Almost everybody has Lodash in their code base. So there's a get method. But now you don't need the get method. Get method, you might still need it sometimes because it has like these nice like things to be able to grab stuff from indexes in the array. Get is just good for safely accessing deeply nested items from like a big deeply nested JavaScript object. But with optional chaining, like you don't really need it all the time now. I used to use it a lot. I used to have it all over my code. But now mostly I just do stuff like this. Any other questions before we do this last find index part? Nope. Okay, who wants to do this part? So this part is gonna be a little different. I'm gonna move the comments outside. Because what I want to do is, I'll get us started so you know what my brain is thinking. I wanna do initial comments. then we're back. What I'm thinking is we write the function to find comment to delete. Comment to delete. So somebody can do this part. I'm just gonna put no for now, but whoever is gonna do this, I want you to do this find index thing. And then based on that, we also need state. So let's do, how should we do this? Let's see. So comment to delete. So we'll do another practice. We'll do H3 index practice. H3. So does somebody want to do something similar? We're going to have an input so that somebody can type, but this time let's make actually let's just make it like this, so you can copy pasta the code kind of, but we're going to store it in a different variable. This time it's going to be like, instead of finding and displaying what it is, we're going to find and delete that comment, and then this list is gonna display like a, oh, we don't actually, let's make it simpler since we don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna bring the comments back in. I'm gonna bring the comments back in just to keep it simpler, because I just looked at the time. So what we're gonna do is below here, instead of rendering a string that we found the comment, we're gonna display the list of comments with that comment deleted if there's like a match. Does that make sense? So like if I type in this ID, this list is gonna render, but with only the 4 comments that doesn't match that ID. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Don't you mean that doesn't match that ID? Right?
No, we wanna
Delete, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
So
Yeah, okay.
we want to render all the comments that doesn't match that ID. Or we can, nobody wants to do it? I can do it then. Let's see. Everybody tired already?
I'm still,
Yeah, I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
I'm still stuck on the read-only editor. I don't know what happened today. I can't get that to.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen that before. So said that. Let's copy the whole thing. Oops. So that, and then I'm gonna do so. Ooh, I got an idea. We can refactor this. See, like while I'm coding, I can see abstractions that are coming up. I'm gonna need something similar to this. So my brain automatically thinks I see a clear abstraction to make. Like I can make this a function. So I could do, let's see. Let's see. So there's that. And then we'll do comments. Filter. Or I'm just making it a different name so that it's not confusing with the higher level comment. So now when we do this, Okay, we're back. And now I'm going to reuse that same function down here. But I'm going to say, I'm going to start with that. So it's going to originally render nothing because I'm going to do, let's call this filtered comments. So it would be easier to do it with the filter function, right? But we're practicing this delete. So just to show you different ways for people that were here like last time, we're gonna do it a little different. So we can do, oh, let's do this. I'm gonna bring that back. ID to delete. Oh, I already have that. Oh, find index. So index comment to delete. So then we're gonna do comments find index, and then we're gonna do same thing. I'm gonna skip the abstracting it out. I probably would abstract it like how we did this because it's the same thing, but I'm just gonna copy pasta for now just to move faster. So this time, this callback is the same, but if it finds a match, instead of like find, which returns the object, it returns the index. So what we want to do is if the index, if it, well, let's look at the docs real quick. So we'll do find index. So just so you can see, so it returns either -1 or the index of the found element. So we can do, if it's equal to -1, then we want to just return comments. We just render all the comments. If not, then we want to do comments slice 0 up into that index. Let's see.
What's the difference between index of and find index?
Hold on one second.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. So find index finds the index of whatever you're, so like if it was, in this case, it says is looking for a number larger than 3, and then it finds whatever the first thing that matches this. So that's at index 0, 1, 2, 3. If this was find, it would return the number 130. It returns the actual element, not the not the index in the array where it found the thing. So you're either getting, if this is to find the index, the other thing is to actually return the element that you found in the array. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So if I didn't make any mistakes, let's try and render this, and then I can explain if I went too fast. I was just trying to go fast because we like went over an hour already. Just don't want to go too late. Let's see. So let's try copy this one. So wait, it didn't work though. Let's see. Let's do. Oh, because I didn't do the toString thing again. Oops. -1, so it didn't find the index. Why didn't it find the index? Oh, common stuff find index, because I did, let's see. Comment ID, oh, wrong one, that's why. Comment ID to delete. There, now you see it didn't render that one, and if I pick a different one, like the first one, then that one disappears. So I went kind of fast. So if you have questions, let me know. Or if you just have a comment, like maybe you don't like the way I did it, or you have a question about why I did it like that, we can talk about that now. Or any questions about anything we did.
Can you explain the -1 part, please?
Yeah, so if you look on the docs here, it says if you don't find anything, it returns -1. So it's a little different from find. That's why you got, I don't memorize all this stuff. I always come to MDN because it's not consistent, right? Like this one returns only fine if it doesn't find anything. And this one returns -1. So the API is a little different. So what I'm doing is I'm saying if the number that I typed in, like I typed in a fake number, that's not an actual comment, this is gonna equal -1 because it didn't find the comment with this ID that I typed. So then I'm saying if I didn't find anything, and you can make this easier by saying no, if comment is there no comment, delete. I don't know. That's kind of hard to understand too, but I was trying to find a way to like just make this read more like English. Let's see. Then I'll say this. Because now I'm saying if there is no comment to delete, return the comments. If there is, then filter it out. So, but then it's not that much more readable, but that was my intention. I'm just trying to come up with something super fast. Because sometimes you want to just put it in a variable just to make the code more readable. Like if you just have this, like when you just asked that question, right? And if somebody was looking at the code, they would have to go and see what that even means. By abstracting it like this, it makes the code a little bit more readable. Because then you can read the code more like English.
Is there a benefit of doing it this way as opposed to filter?
For this specific instance, for what we're doing, no, I don't think. I think filter would be easier because you would just say filter the array for everything except this ID, and you don't need to construct a new array. So in this specific instance, you wouldn't. I probably wouldn't do this. But that's just what he asked in the comment, so I just went with it. I can't think of a specific example when to use this, but like it's just whenever you need to find the index of something in an array and you want to do something with that. So
Would filter be used like in a search, like you would use filter in a search, a dynamic, like, you know, how search has a drop down. Like as you're typing, search has a drop down of all matching values. You would use filter to kind of dynamically create that drop down. That's when you would use filter, right?
yeah, but that's why whoever is asking,
Here,
you could
said
just
someone delete
use
it.
you could use filter. Like you don't need, like this is more complicated, right? We don't need to construct the new array. You can just use filter. That's what I was trying to explain. Because like, why are you gonna do this besides just to do this exercise? Like filter, you just do filter and that's it. It's just one line, you just do filter. This, you have to do like 5 lines of code, and then you have to kind of read it to see like, what the hell is this slice 0 to whatever? It's just harder to understand. It would be way easier to read if you just wrote filter. But we're just doing it. It's just a contrived exercise to learn about these like array methods. I think I mentioned this the other week too. This site's super good that has this JavaScript arrays course. I highly recommend it, and it goes over like all these array methods. The way they do it is like it's timed, so they only give you a certain amount of questions at a time, and then it's supposed to be learning by repetition. It's pretty good, and then you can't go on until like you like mastered those things, and then you keep going until you finish the course, and then by the end you should master most of the common array methods, like all the stuff that we've been doing. You probably still got to go to MDN to like look stuff up, though. I do all the time. I mean, it's too much stuff to remember. But you'll get better at it. You'll have more muscle memory to just be able to type like how, if you saw, I was just like typing really fast here because I just use these methods all the time. And I did this course too. Any other questions?
Sorry, last thing. Can you just explain how you constructed the new array with the slice?
Yeah, so if you watch the JavaScript 30, Wes Boss does it like that. It's just what I did is slice creates a new array, and you're going from 0 up into the index. So I can bring it up. So the end index is not included though. So if you do like slice 2 to 4, that gets these two, but not the 4th element. It doesn't include the ending one. So what I did is I said, get me everything from 0 to the index that I wanted to delete. And then, what do you call that? Spread that out, and then get everything from the next element after the index I don't want to the end of the array. If you don't put a second argument in there, then you just get everything to the end of the array. That's what this first one is doing. This one says everything from 2 to the end, give me all that. So we're pretty much copying all the elements and making a new array, except the element that was at the index that we want to delete. We skipped it by saying that index plus 1. Does that make sense? Yeah, and you can watch it. The West boss does it in the video. Like if you go and watch this video, he does that in the video too. There's another way where you can use splice, but that's destructive. So any array methods that mutate the actual array, you want to use with caution, because anytime you're mutating, you might cause like bugs in your app. So I prefer to do it like this, just to make sure I don't introduce any bugs. I could use slice if you copy the array, splice. So I can make another example. So slice example equals. I think then you can just do the index. If I remember correctly, let's see. What did I do? That only gave me the last one. Splice. Oh, splice by removing or replacing the existing element. So what if I just want to replace?
Would you just leave it empty?
So you want to replace element 1, use splice to delete. See, I don't use splice, so I forget how to even use it. Let's see. Delete position and number. Oh, 1. Can we do that? No, I don't know. I messed it up. But you can use splice. I don't want to look it up now. There's a way to do it both ways. He does it in the video, where you can use splice, but I would recommend
Splice. The first one you put the index, the second one you put the amount that you're removing. For here, we're only removing 1 comment, so it would be 1. So first would be the index, second would be 1.
Yeah, that's what I did, but it wasn't working. So I was getting the reverse. I was getting the thing that I deleted instead of the array. I probably just
because I think it returns the items you deleted.
Yeah, it returned the item that you deleted.
And
so
it mutates the array in place.
Oh, so here, I can fix it. Yeah. See, that's why the mutating is confusing. So what we do is slice slice example. And we'll say and then down here we do there we go. But it's confusing, right? Like yeah, I find it like a lot more confusing than just making a new thing, because then you got to think about like the object that you mutated and stuff. So I generally don't use that array method. Yeah. Any other questions? Can be about anything. Doesn't need to be about the stuff we did. No? Okay.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
When you test your React apps, do you test it for like, I guess in the React testing library, they talk about testing it in the context of the user and not like testing for 100% coverage, but like testing if the components render and such like that. Like, how do you approach it?
You're gonna know what I'm gonna say. It depends.
Yeah, I know.
It depends. You got to discuss all this kind of stuff with your team, and it depends. Like, it just depends on your timeline, on how important it is. Like, generally, you can use like Cypress or something like Cypress to do like end-to-end and integration tests, and then you can just test the happy path, and then if bugs come up. So the happy path is just clicking through like as a user, as you think the user would do, but users do all kinds of stuff, right? Like you don't know what they're gonna they always use the app in some way you never thought about. But the happy path is you don't consider all the edge cases. You just say the user should do it like this. That's what I'm gonna test, and it should work with that path. And then you can just call it a day. Like if it's not some life-threatening situation kind of app like a Tesla self-driving car, if you're just making a to-do list, boom, call it a day. That's like good. And then if runtime errors do come up because people do weird stuff you didn't expect, then you can add a regression test where you test what the user did and make sure that the app doesn't blow up when the user does that. So then you can keep adding on tests like that. That way it's more practical. You just test the happy path and then you do that. And then if you want, you can test like unit tests, any utility functions or data munging that you do. Or if you want to do component tests, but like if you're doing the Cypress test, you don't need to do like a lot of, it depends on the app.
Yeah,
like
it always depends.
If it's a to-do app, you might be able to just get away with writing one happy path test, and that's your whole test suite.
Cool. Thank you for the input.
Yeah, it's just something you discuss with the team that you work with.
I had a question about accessibility. Just like what resources do you use to make components more accessible?
I don't remember. There's all kinds of tools. There's like, you want to use tools. You don't want to just try to manually like look in the code. So you want to use like linting kind of tools and stuff. Like this is one, I think. I don't know. There's a whole bunch. I don't remember off the top of my head. You want to use like, oh, this one's deprecated. React30. So there's all kind of tools. You can use Google. There's like workshops. I think Front End Master has a 811Y course.
The README suggested using React30, apparently.
So you can just do stuff like this, and then they tell you all the tools. I don't remember off the top of my head. But definitely use tools. You don't want to manually do it.
Yeah, thanks.
So because developers, like I said, there's too much stuff to remember, right? You want to use tools to just automate and just tell you when you're doing something wrong. Same thing with the linter, right? Like a regular linter is just telling you, this is a code smell. you're gonna write buggy code if you do it like this, fix it. You can add accessibility to checks in with your linter. So, yeah, anything else? Let's see, did I miss anything in the chat? Sometimes I miss stuff in the chat.
What would you recommending in building like small React projects for relatively beginners to React to try out in Sandbox?
You can just do stuff like to-do app. That's like that's what everybody does, right? If you go, there's like, I don't know if you see it, there's like to-do frameworks. I think there's one site, to-do MVC. You can do to-do and like all these different things. That's just like a normal thing people do to like learn framework. Yeah, we've been doing these meetups every week. Somebody's asking in the chat. Every Sunday, at least so far. I don't know. We'll see if I keep if we keep it up. But you can do that, or you can just build stuff that you want. Just think of something. Like when I would just make React app every day when I was doing the 100 days of code, and I would just think of funny stuff to make.
Yeah, I'm planning to do that.
Like if you you look at my thing, I just make all kinds of stuff. Where did I do? Where's my I always forget how to navigate Code Sandbox. I don't know. You can go look at my sandbox if you want.
Yeah, can I have the link?
Yeah, here. But like I was just making stuff that I either wanted to learn, or like if I wanted to try out, like at Lyft we were using Material UI, so I just wanted to learn some Material UI stuff, and so I would just make something with Material UI, or I just wanted to learn some Mapbox stuff, or I just wanted to make something funny. Like where's my 100 days of code, my last day I made this thing. It might be loud. Let's see. I think I showed you guys last. So I don't know. I just make stuff like that I just that just popped in my brain. I just was like, I'm gonna make Snoop Dogg go on the page when I push the button and play this Thug Life song, and I just Google how to do that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, hopefully it'll keep flowing. I think once like the brain start dumping like something, and then idea just pops in more.
Yeah, you can just make anything. It's more fun though if you make stuff that you want, like instead of just some like boilerplate to-do app. But like you can do both. Like you can do to-do because like that's already an exercise that everybody does. Then it's easier to get help. You know, you can ask other people who did it.
Somehow, like I like my brain and me just want to like resist to-do app. Like the moment I see to-do app, I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever you want to do then.
Yeah, but then I think to-do app is great because it has all the necessary that we need to learn.
Yeah, I think that's why people do it. It just has, you got to know like fundamental React stuff to make it.
Yeah.
But like even you can do the JavaScript 30 things like we're doing.
Yeah.
But I definitely recommend doing it in vanilla JavaScript first. I wouldn't jump straight to React. I would do the exercises as he made it.
Yeah. It's definitely fun. Like just sit and try to chime in, and then when
you can also learn React by just you don't have to do small little projects. You can just come up with a big project, something that you want to build, and then you just build a little bit and just keep building it up as you go. Make the buttons for the thing, or build up one page at a time, stuff you want in the app, or whatever you can think of that you need in your app. You can just make a tool, you know, that for something that you want, that you want to use.
Yeah, definitely. Like this week I went to the React Summit. It was happening on Wednesday to Friday, but then free tier only has like Wednesday and Thursday. And then hearing all the products that's built in React, it's really fun. Like some of them, like one of them that I think B. Dougie was here talking about the Redwood JS. Like the founder was doing a short like a demo. It's just so easy to use. And I'm just thinking like how? Like what can I build? Like I need to grind my brain a little bit to like figure out how I can use it, but then it looks really fun and promising. Very like no friction.
Yeah, it's convention over configuration. I think that used to be a pattern, and we moved away from it, and now it's like coming back full circle.
What is it?
Rails made that popular. It's the idea if you do things by convention over having to like configure a bunch of stuff. Like so, by convention meaning put everything in this folder, and then stuff will just happen magically. So the convention is you put everything in this pages folder, and we will generate routes and render that component when you go to that file. Like Next.js does that too. It's like you got to follow these conventions. The downside to that is because it's magic, when you screw up and you don't follow the convention exactly, it doesn't work, and then it's harder to debug. So like everything, there's trade-offs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I understand the trade-off on that one. But then I think I'm only building something very small and simple. So I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, you might not need Redwood JS then. No, that's like
that's why I was like,
it's like if you're building a big app, it just makes it easy to like, I haven't used it, but it's supposedly just make it easy to hook up the database and stuff like that if you have a database. So there's Redwood JS and there's Blitz JS. Those are both full stack React frameworks.
Wait, what was the second one you mentioned?
Blitz.
Oh,
Blitz.
I think.
I mean, I've heard of Gatsby and Hugo, but I haven't heard of these other two.
No, these are like taking it a step further than Gatsby.
Okay.
This is like Ruby on Rails for React. It's a full stack framework. So like you have multiple layers. You can just build just raw React. That's only front end. You don't have back end. The next level, you can use something like Gatsby or Next.js. I prefer Next.js over Gatsby. I've done both. And then if you want to take it even further, now they're just creating abstractions on abstractions of the abstractions. So there's trade-offs to what you pick to build your app. So Blitz and Redwood JS are the full stack ones that make it like supposed to make it dead simple to do like hooking up the database and user authentication and stuff like that. I think I haven't gone that far yet. I just use Next.js when I build apps. That's like if I'm making a new app, I just automatically go to Next.js now.
With Tailwind?
I've never used Tailwind.
What do you use along with your Next.js?
You mean Tailwind CSS?
I just use CSS modules. Like if I'm just doing like a little thing, it comes. You don't have to install anything. See, Next.js already provides support out of the box to do CSS modules.
That's nice.
But if I was doing a bigger project like at work, I'd probably use unstyled components.
A couple of weeks ago, like you were redoing the 30-day JS with like roots CSS variables, and then I did that with one of my small exercises. It's fun.
With the root CSS variable? Oh,
Yeah.
the CSS variables when we did the
clock, I think. Was it?
yeah. Yeah. So there's that. Style components is awesome because it has theming, and that's super helpful. It's more advanced though. So you can read about it later. This is awesome. That's how you do like dark mode for your app. You know how people have like a toggle switch to make dark mode?
Yeah.
You can just define a theme, and it's just a JavaScript object that has like all the colors that says when it's light, these are all the colors. When it's dark, it's all these colors. And then when you hit the switch, all it does is switch the JavaScript object, and all your components just render the styles correctly.
Oh, that's nice.